Hello friends, welcome to Thursday Live. Today, what do you suggest if we start with a story that has roots in mathematics? And what about a story where there is a devil and there is mathematics, both? Okay, I'll tell you one story. And the story goes like there is a lazy guy who doesn't want to work. You all are hard-working kids. You work hard at your mathematics problems, on your homework, everything. And for hard-working people, there is God. So whatever hard work you do, it is rewarded. By nature, it is rewarded. But what happens to the lazy kids? The lazy guy. Now that lazy guy is coming in the way of everybody. Somebody is doing some work, this lazy guy is not moving. So he would say, get away. Get out of the way, you lazy guy. Go to the devil. Everybody was saying this. So this lazy guy thought, there is no option for me. I have no hope because God won't listen to me. Why God would listen to lazy guys? Should he listen to him? No, because God is for hardworking people who do hard work, they get rewarded. But lazy guy thought, if God is not there for me, there must be some devil who can help me. And everybody is asking him, get out of the way and go to the devil. Go to the devil means get lost, something like this. So he thought, okay, let me go to the devil. So what he thought, as soon as he thought, let me go to the devil presented himself right there. Devil is like that. God takes time to appear in front of you, but you think of a devil, immediately the devil will come. So the devil presented himself. Why? Hey, what do you want? The lazy guy thought, my goodness, this is easy job. As soon as I thought of a devil is here. He must be a good guy. Let me ask him for help. So this lazy guy asked the devil, look, Mr. Devil, I am a lazy person. I want to earn lots of money. How can I do that? So devil thought for a while and said, so you want to earn a lot of money? I can help you do that. But because I am a devil, so I have some fees. You have to pay me the fees. This guy thought, so what is your fees? He said, look, I will give you a proposition. It is up to you to accept or reject it. The deal is like that. He took him, this lazy guy, to a river where there was a bridge. So he said, look, whatever money you have in your pocket now, it will double the moment you cross this river and go to the other side of the bridge. So the lazy guy and the devil are standing here. There is a river in between and there is a bridge. So he said, okay, from here you go cross the bridge, go there at the other side of the river, whatever money you have, double up. And this lazy guy is lazy, but he is not dishonest. So he would say, so Mr. Devil, what is your fees? How much I have to pay you? It will double. It is a great thing. So he said, no problem. Whatever money you double up, you give me $24 from that. That's all. I am not a very greedy devil. Looks good. So far so good. So devil asked him, do we have a deal? The lazy guy said, yes, I have a deal. So he made a pact with the devil. Deal with the devil. You should never make a deal with the devil, because devil one way or the other will get you. So this lazy guy thinks he has won because his money is going to get doubled and he would win at the end. But devil won't let you win. He doesn't know, but we will know because that's the story. So the guy starts with some money in his pocket. He said, okay, let me walk to the other side of the bridge. The bridge is very small, only this very small river. It was not a river. So he crossed to the other and his pockets start to felt heavy. So whatever money he had, we don't know how much money he had. That's the question that will come at the end of this story. We will figure it out because we are practitioners of mathematics. We would deal with that question. This lazy guy is of no use. So what he does, the lazy guy starts from this end, goes to the other end. His pockets start feeling little heavy, and he puts his hand in the pocket and takes out the money. Oh my goodness, it is doubled now. When the money is doubled, he remembers his promise to the devil. He is a lazy guy, but he is not dishonest. So he gives $24 to the devil as promised. So devil pockets that money. He says, okay, thank you very much. So the deal done. Now you are happy. This lazy guy is not happy. He thinks, when I have such a great deal in hand, why not use it fully? So he goes to the one more crossing. Then whatever money he was left with, it got doubled. So here it reached. This lazy guy is here now. The money got doubled. Devil said, okay, give me my money. My share. He gives $24 to the devil. Now he says, he was little sad because he was left with little money. He said, okay, let me go for one more crossing. So he is playing with the devil. Deal with the devil is always doesn't end well. So from here he starts for the third crossing. When he crosses it third times, the money gets doubled, but this lazy guy ends up with only $24. This is a fact now. So at the end of the third crossing, this lazy guy has $24 in all. And you see, $24 is the devil's fee. So he has to give him the fee. Now what lazy guy is left with? Nothing. Zero. He is left with nothing. So he lost all the money he had. Devil pocketed the $24, vanished. Devil goes in an instant. Instantly he vanished. And this lazy guy was sitting there at the river bank thinking, my goodness, I didn't do my math correct. So he was a lazy guy and he was poor at mathematics. So he paid the price. But we are primary kids. Doesn't matter. We would figure out what went wrong in this deal and why this guy lost the money. We would analyze the situation. And this is what mathematics is for. Mathematics is not for rote learning or calculating, doing sums. They have no significance, just doing sums, addition, subtraction, practicing. Practicing mathematics is good, but it doesn't lead you anywhere unless you are practicing logic in mathematics, reasoning in mathematics. So we should be practicing more of reasoning and logic than rote learning the tables, addition, subtraction. Of course, they are part of mathematics, but reasoning is important. See the reasoning. This lazy guy may be knowing addition and subtraction, everything he knew, but he didn't apply it properly. We would do that so that the same thing doesn't happen to us and we are able to make sense of a situation. This mathematics is only for making, it helps us making sense of a situation that is present today, situations that happened in the past, situations that will come in the future. So we use mathematics tools to make sense of the situations here. Now we will use it to understand why this lazy guy lost the money, one thing. But before that, there is a question in this story. What money this lazy guy started up with? So what money he had in his pocket when he started his first crossing? First thing that we will find, and we will see how he lost the money. We will try to make sense of the whole story mathematically. This is true. But when we are about to do these two, I have a devilish thought in my mind. Excuse me for that. I think we know enough mathematics to beat the devil and teach him a lesson. so that he doesn't trouble any more people. Even if lazy or not lazy doesn't matter, but he would stop using mathematics to beat other people. We know enough of mathematics, you know enough of mathematics, and you can beat the devil in his game. What do you say? Should we look for a solution like that? Okay. So we have three objectives. One, we will know how much this guy, lazy guy, started off with when he started walking across the bridge. We will analyze the whole situation, and third, we will try to come up with a solution where we can beat the devil in his own game. So the devil is taught a lesson and he never troubles anybody else with this kind of a thing. Even if some people are poor in mathematics, they should come to our class and learn something, but should not go to devil to learn this lesson in a hard way. Okay. I will take you to the whiteboard. See what happened. We lost the recording of the class, and I am this poor man. I am standing here recording this session all over again for you because we didn't record the session. There were so many comments, you guys contributed so much, but unfortunately I don't have the recording now. So I am recreating the class, and this class is useless as you see. When you all are there, the class is so lively, everybody talking, everybody contributing. So anyway, I will try to do what best is possible. Okay. So I will go to the drawing board, and I am recreating the class, doing the same sums that we did in the class. Okay, so we will go to the drawing board, and then just for the sake of recording, so other kids also should know, what happens in our classes. Unfortunately, this time all my great kids are not there. Okay, so we go to the whiteboard. Okay, friends, so here is our Mr. Devil. See, he is rolling in money. Look at the graphic I selected. He is rolling in money, enjoying himself, and what we say, beat the devil using mathematics. I don't enjoy doing this, class all by myself, but what to do? Okay, fine. Okay, so the situation was like this. This guy started with some money. So should we call it X? We can call it X, because like in the class you found out using hit and trial how much the money he started with, and you were bang on correct. But now I will jump straight into algebra, and then we see, and we will plug in different values and do it. So suppose he started with some amount X. X we call it because it is a variable. We can plug it some number, and we can assume X to be anything. We can say X is 20 dirhams, $20. We can assume X is $40. The same situation would hold true even if X is replaced with anything. This is why in algebra we have a variable. So we say this is some value. Instead of giving it a fixed value, we are telling its name X. So the situation is like this. This is a starting point. This is an end point. There is a river and there is a bridge. So when we start, the devil plus the lazy guy are standing here. So the devil has offered the lazy guy whatever money you have, because devil also doesn't know. The devil said whatever money. When say whatever, we would say it X. Whatever money you have, you go to the other side and the money would become double. Double means X you have, one more X. So can we call it 2X? There are two X's, so why do we write X plus X? Double of X. It will become double. So we write like this. First crossing. This guy starts and then ends somewhere, right? This end, and then here he pays the devil after paying devil. How much he is left? So these are the three things. You in mathematics, what we do is we have to organize our thinking very clear. Otherwise, we will get boggled down with facts. So we analyze it very coolly. This lazy guy did it too. This is why he lost all the money. So what we are doing is, we are not in a rush. We are analyzing the whole situation critically. So we start with X amount of money. We go to the other end. The money becomes double, and we have to pay the devil $24. Whatever money we had, it became double and less 24. Should I check it with some value, like we suppose we had $5 or say $20 or $12 or $18. Suppose we started with $18. So what happened? This 18 became how much? It became 36, double. Look, X, we replace with it. Double of X means double of 36. X 36 became, because X is 18. X is nothing but one number that you assume later on. 36, and how much you gave to the devil? 24. When you gave to the devil 24, how much is remaining? 36 minus 24. You are losing the money. Here it doubled, but after paying devil, you are losing the money. You started with 18. It became 36. All right. But then you have devil's fee to take care of. So it is becoming $12 again. So what you will be tempted to do? You will say, it is 12 only. So let me go back again. You will start from here. With $12 in pocket, you will start back. This 12 will become how much? 24. Fine, you are richer now. 24. You started off with 18. Now you have 24. But who pays the devil? When you pay the devil, it is 24 minus. Finish. You are left with nothing. But this settles it only in 2 crossings. What the story says? This amount became 0 when there were 3 crossings. This is the issue. So we have to keep ourselves within the limits of the story. Story means what the story says. That's how we have to do. That's the question. Now we cannot say that in 2. So 12 is not the answer, because 12 is not working out. What we did, that one is not the answer. 18 is not the answer. So imagine we start with, we will figure out, no problem. Any complex situation can be figured out. So we started with X, it became double, and then we paid 24. This is first crossing, complete. The deal with the devil is done. Devil gets his 24 share, and this lazy guy is left with 2x minus 24. Now he thinks, what he thinks is past now. 3 stages we have to complete. Now we go back. So we start with 2x minus 24 this time. Start with 2x minus 24, right? We again make a crossing. So what happens? This doubles. If we have 2x here and make it double, what it will become? 2x. Like 2 boys, 4, double. So it will become 4x. And then minus is minus. 24, what it will become? 24 will double up. So 24 will become 48. Right? So this is the situation after second crossing. Second crossing is done, but who pays the devil? Money is doubled, but you have to pay the devil. Devil's fees is 24. I write minus 24. Up to here, is it okay? So this is the whole thing. But if you pay attention closely, you will see 48 is minus, 24 is also minus. Both are going, outgoing money. You are paying out. First you give somebody 24 and give 24 again, or somebody you give 48 and then you give 24 again. How much you gave out? Sum of these two, right? So why not we sum up and write the answer? So 48 plus 24 we write. That will make this equation like this. 4x is 4x minus, we sum these two because this is also minus. Going minus means giving out, giving the money. So if we add 4 and 8, 12, 2, 1 carry forward, 1 to 3 plus 4, 72. So this is the answer. But should I delete it and write it clearly? This will make it look little elegant. So I will, because in maths presentation is equally important. You know, like Hardy said, it should be elegant and beautiful. This is what he said about mathematics. If it is not elegant, it is clumsy, then it is no longer not a right thing. So 72. So okay, now we are with 72. Okay. Shall we test this with our 18 figure? 18, suppose he started with 18. Last time we did the calculation, so why not we check it if it is working? See, he started with $18 here. Here it became how much? Double the 18, 36 minus 24, 12. When he started with 12 here, what it will become? 24 minus 24 is equal to 0. Should we test it by fitting 18 here? Why not? If we write 18 here, here at what will be? 2x, matlab 18 double 36 minus 24 is 12. Look, the same thing you are getting. If you do it algebra or if you do it by hit and trial, it is coming the same 12. Now you start with 12 and you end up where? 4x minus 72. Why not if replace x with 18 here and see if is it equal to 0? Let us see. 18 4s are 72 minus 72 0. Very right. So you can fit. This is the beauty of algebra. You can replace the variable with many values and still check if it is working or not. So now this is the second. In the story, it was like 3 steps. So we start with 4x minus 72 again. Okay. So we start with 4. We are going to start again, huh? 4x minus 72 and we make a crossing. After crossing, what happens? The money doubles. So 4x will become how much? 4x will become 8x and 72 will become how much? 72 will also double, but in negative. So what is 72 double? Oh, don't go and grab the calculator. We are dealing with the double and we have to do calculation on the spot. What is the double of 70? 140. What is the double of 2? 4. Add it here. 144. Simple. So we have this money after third crossing. Now you see, after third crossing, the story says this lazy man was left with the money that was just enough to cover the devil's fees, that is $24. So can we say that this money is equal to $24 or not? Yes, we can say this. This is the only thing that can be said, because in the story it says once the 3 crossings were completed, the lazy man only had enough to cover the devil's fees and he lost all the money. So this money was equal to $24 and devil's fees was equal to 24, so he gave 24. That is all. So 8x minus 144 is equal to 24. Don't get scared with x and all. It is very easy to understand. Okay. Now you see here, when you say 8x minus 144. See, we are practicing algebra. We are just, this story is just a pretext. You may have understood by now, the most biggest devil is me. I am dragging you into algebra. I am the devil. And I am making you practice algebra by telling you stories. But I hope you like it. Huh? Okay. See, if this is like this, when you say equal, equal means it is like a weighing scale. Here and here, it is like a weighing scale. This is here, 24 is here. Okay. So, if I take 144 from here and put it here, it is the same thing. Like, or if I add 144 here and add 144 here, it will be balanced or not. So, I add 144 here because it is minus 144. So, it will go 144 will go only if I put 144 here. So, I have to put 144 here also. Then only it will be balanced. Otherwise, it is no scale and there is no meaning of this equal sign. So, here I write 144. And where this minus 144 went? Because when I added 144, it is 0. So, I write, because 144 minus was there already. I added 144. So, 1 is taking away, 1 is adding. So, whatever you put in, it is being taken away. So, it is 0. Right? So, don't worry about taking the signal here. Whatever you see, just add opposite to it. 8x is equal to 244. So, now this is the equation. Okay. 8x means, first we write 8x is equal to, can we sum them up? Of course, we can sum them up. 24 plus 144. Why not add 4 first? How much it will become? 148 and then add 20. First you add unit and then add it to 160. Don't get scared when this kind of situation. Simply add unit and then tens. 168 is equal to 8x. Now you see, we want to know what is this number. 8 times this number is 168. Right? So what is 1/8 of this number? 1/8 of this number means if I make 8x, 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, 6x, 7x, 8x, right? 8x. So what is this? This is 1x. So this is 1/8 of it. 1/8. So if I make 1/8, how do we make it 1/8? How do we make it half? By dividing by 2. How do we make 1/4? Dividing by 4. How do we make 1/8? Dividing by 8. So we divide by 8 here, and like I told you, it is a weighing scale. If you divide, then here also you must make division. So divide by 8. Now, if we divide 8 by 8, how much? Nothing. 1. So only 1x remains, and here it is a simple equation, 168 divided by 8. Okay. Now you would say, how do I divide by 8? I don't even know the table of 8. And I won't be angry. No problem. If you don't remember the table of table of 8, that's fine. If you know, then you already can do it. 8 2s are 16 and 8 1 is 8. So 21 is the result. X is equal to 21. So we started with $21 here. This is 1. Now we come back to the division of 160. If you don't know the table of 8, what is 8? 8 is 2 multiply 2 multiply 2. 2 2s are 4, 2s are 8. So you divide 168 by 2. If you divide by 2, you know the table of 2. You can divide 2. If you divide, how much it is? 84. And then again divide by 2. How much it is? 42. Now again divide by 2. Then it becomes 21. Simple. So that way, don't get scared with mathematics. Probably there is some shortcut, some idea somewhere that is waiting to be discovered by you. If you don't discover it, I might bring it to you. If I don't bring it to you, somebody else will bring it to you. You just lay in waiting keep looking in the mathematics books, keep talking to people, keep explaining your problem. Don't get stuck with the problem. If you are stuck with some problem, I don't know the table of 8 and I want to divide it. Is there a way? Why don't you ask this question? It is your job to ask this question. I don't know the table of 8 and still I want to divide it. Your teacher might say, forget it, there is no other way. You have to remember the table of 8. You say, okay, thank you very much. This is one way. But there must be another way also. Don't stop looking for that way. Okay. So if somebody presents you with a solution, accept that. Fine, thank you very much. But don't stop looking for other ways. There are so many ways waiting to be discovered. Already people have found it, but maybe you find some unique way of your own. Why not? So that is just encouraging you to go for hunting for many solutions. So now we know the variable is 21. To $21 he started with. Should we check if our answer is right, or should we go to the teacher and say, teacher, is my answer right? I don't like that. I would check the answer myself. Why not? We know the story. We will plug in 21 in the story and check if it makes sense. So we start with 21. $21 we start with. When we cross, how much it becomes? 21 becomes 42. The lazy guy is bouncing in the air. $42. Then he had to pay out 24. When he pays out 24, how much he is left with? Oh my goodness, only $18. Oh, he is again sad. He said, I had 21, now it is to 18. See, his money is reducing, but he is not giving up hope. He should have quit here. But then he started with playing 18 again. It is kind of a not deal that is not working in favor of the lazy guy. 18 becomes how much? 36. 36 minus again how much? 24 he has to pay to the devil. 36 minus 24 is $12. He is left with only 12. Now his money is reducing. This is the problem dealing with the devil. So when he has 12, third crossing, he comes here, he starts with 12, 12 becomes 24, but the devil is sitting here waiting for his fees. Give me this 24, and this lazy guy doesn't have anything. And he has lost everything he had. This is why don't deal with the devil, and if you deal with the devil or anyone, figure out where you are heading to. So using mathematics, we figured out the whole situation, and you may have seen there is hardly any arithmetic operations here. But by doing this kind of exercise, we hone our minds, we hone our mathematical approach, reasoning approach, and we learn how to make sense of a situation. So here with $21 he started with. So that takes care of the first question. Now, could there be a situation where we can make money and we can teach devil a lesson that we know better mathematics and we can teach devil a lesson? You see here, first he had $18 at the second crossing, now he had $12 and now nothing. What if we plug in some value in x and check for ourselves if it works for, it can give us something here. Like we plugged in 21 now, if we plug some other value, suppose I start with $100. So what happens with $100? I start with 100. What happens with 100? 100 will become what? As the deal says, 100 will become 200, right? The devil is not dishonest. Even if he is a devil, he will pay us double the money. So $200 we will have. How much devil wants? We are also not dishonest. We will pay him his share, $24. Pay him. How much? remaining 176. How come 176? See, I took away 25. Instead of 24, I took away 25, 175, and I added 176. So now we come here, 176. Now look, this guy started with 21. When he came back here, second step, his money was 18. Our money has grown. Look, our money is growing. His money was reducing. He started with 21, it went to 18, and then it went to 12. Our money from 100, it went to 176. Look how we make fool of devil now. We are not making fool of him. We are baiting him in his own game. He is cheating people, and we want this practice to stop. We will not deal with the devil. We are just doing this to teach him a lesson. 176. Now I got the calculator. 176 gets doubled. 352. We give $24 to the devil. We are left with 328. Second crossing done. Now we come back for the third crossing. We won't leave this devil unless he is taught a lesson. Now 328 would double. 656 minus 24. $632. Look, we are making money. We started with 100, and at the end of the third crossing, we have $632. Now, should we check using this formula? If we are right, how much money we should have? We should have money 8x minus 144. Like whatever we started with, 8 times minus 144. Should we try this? If the algebra is good, 8 multiply 100, because we started with 100, 800 minus 144, 656. 656 is what we also calculated. This is how it goes. So 656. Again, if you see 176 was here. Here how much it was? It will become 176 multiplied to 352 here, and minus 24 after paying the devil, 328. 328 here, it should come 656. We are doing one more time, that's all. 2, 656, it becomes double, and after paying the devil, how much it comes? Minus 24, 632. So we again come here, 632. Come devil, come. 100, already we are at 632. This money will reach in millions. See, now have you understood the game now? No devil can play any stupid mathematics game on you. You will beat the devil using maths. I'm missing you. Really, doing this class alone is no fun. Okay, I am recreating what we could. Thank you. Now, what the other exercise we discussed is the writing exercise. So, there is this girl. This girl decided to, this is the second question, second question, and we discussed that there is this girl who decides that she will write a few pages every day, and she thought writing 20 pages per day should be enough to make her mother happy. 20 pages per day, and she expects an award from her mother if she completes the task. Fine. So we come here. So the equation is like this. This girl says, I will write 20 pages per day, and she has some task to cover. Suppose this is number of pages. We don't know how many pages she wrote. Whatever the number of pages, the story and question is framed like this. This girl thinks she has to achieve the target of 20 pages per day, and her mother promised, if you do 20 pages per day and accomplish this project, I would give you a reward. How many pages Oh, total she has to do, that is not known. The only thing is 20 pages per day. How long she worked, that also is not known. We only know one thing. Whatever number of pages she had to type, half the number of pages she typed at the rate of 2 pages per day. See, don't get boggled down with, my goodness, this looks too complex. No, this is the very purpose of our classes, not to practice arithmetics, doing calculations over and over again. What you will do? Calculators are good for that. We are here to practice our reasoning skills. How do we grapple with tricky questions? This kind of questions come very late in your life. This is a middle school, high school grade question. But I am confident that you can do it, and you did very well in the class. You figured it out by the time I finished spelling it. Unfortunately, we don't have recording of today. This will not happen next time, I promise. I will be extra careful, because I had a meeting yesterday that I didn't want to record. So what I did, I may have not recorded it, and Zoom remembered that setting, and it applied the same setting for today's meeting. And in the excitement of talking to you, I forgot to check if it is being recorded. Fine. Okay. So half the work, half of the work, whatever she had, she did at 10 pages per day, and remaining half she did at, lo and behold, 30 pages per day. 30 pages per day. See, she is a hard working girl, but this particular time maybe she was busy watching TV or busy playing with her friends, so she only did 10 pages per day. And when this whole task was complete, she told her mother, look, I have completed the whole assignment, give me my reward. Her mother said, okay, explain yourself, how did you do that? She said, look, I set out to complete 20 pages per day. This was the target, and I achieved the target because half of the work I did at 10 pages per day, half of the work I did at 30 pages per day. So the average is 10 pages per day plus 30 pages per day, divide by 2. This is the average, because there are 2 units here, 2 things, averaging it out. So 40 divided by 2, and this is target. This is her logic. Do you think this logic is right? When we were doing it in the class, you could see through her logic that this logic is faulty. It is not right. It cannot be right. Okay. But we have here, her mother saw through her logic and said, no, this is wrong. You did not complete 20 pages per day. But then how much did she do? She did not do 20 pages per day. Then how much pages per day did she do? This is the question. And I invite any higher grade kid, when they see this question, they would sit down and say, my goodness, this is a really interesting question and a challenging one, worthy of their time. The secondary school, middle school kids, they would think. We also think it is worthy of our time, and we are worthy of attending to this kind of questions, and we would sort it out, because here not much mathematics is involved, only little reasoning that we have to wrap our head around. Fine. Imagine, see how many pages she wrote, we don't know. So why not let us assume that she wrote 400 pages. Can we make like this? or should we say 900 pages? What is the harm? Let us say we will say she wrote 900 pages. Okay, but 900 will give you half and half, not good, so we will make it 1000 pages. Okay, so 500 pages is half, 500 pages is half. Okay, not every question requires arithmetics, formulas. There are many things that this is called back of the envelope calculation. Quickly you do it. So here, say 1000 pages she had to write. We are assuming it because we don't know how many pages she wrote. With 500 pages she wrote at the rate of 10 pages per day. Okay, now you tell me, if somebody writes 10 pages in one day, 500 pages, how long will it take her to complete? 10 pages in one day, and 50 pages how many days? 5 days. 500 pages how many days? 50 days. Or not? 500 pages, 10 pages in one day, 20 pages in 2 days, 50 pages, 50 days, 500 pages. Simple. Now 500, same thing. We will see another, how long she took now. Time we have to see. 30 pages she was doing. She became very efficient because she thought she has wasted a lot of time earlier. Now she must be faster, so she did 30 pages a day. How many pages she has to write? 500. When she writes 500 pages, 30 pages she writes every day. How much time it will take? Divide 50. How much it is? If you divide, figured. Okay. So, imagining that she had to type 1000 pages, 1000 pages. So 500 pages. Why we check 500? Because it is half the target. Half the pages she typed at the rate 10 pages per day. So if she types 10 pages in one day, 500 pages she took 50 days to type. Print, write, type, whatever. Now remaining 500, how long it took? It took her 30 pages per day she types. So 500 pages, how long it will take her? 500 divided by 30. So it will take her how many days it will take her? .6 days. And one day how much she is typing, printing? Say 30 pages one day. So it is 500 pages. So total time how long? Look here. Total time is 50 plus 16.6. That means 66.6 days it took. And how much she produced? 1000 pages. 1000 pages, 66 days. When you are talking about pages per day, so we should know how many days, how many pages. So she took wrote 1000 pages and 66 days. So her average is 1000 pages per day. That means divide by 66.6. 15 pages per day. And what she is claiming? Look here. What she was claiming is that she had already achieved the target. It is wrong. It is wrong. In her innocence, she thought 10 pages per day and 30 pages per day. 10 plus 30, I will add pages, I will add, divide by 2. And it will come to 20 pages per day. So this is nothing but a wrong mathematical calculation. Now if when we do correctly, she only did 15 pages per day. Fine. Can we say how long it took? 66 days. If she did 15 pages in 66 days, can she make 1000 pages? Let us do it reverse. 66.6666 6666 multiply how much? 15. Look here, 1000 pages. So our answer and our deduction is right. The thing that we deduce from it is she did not complete 20 pages per day, she completed 15 pages per day, and her claim is not valid. But still give her some reward because she indeed did a good job. But that is up to her mother. We can only give some recommendation. It is her mother who seems to be a good mathematician. This is why she refused to believe her claim. So this takes care of the typing job. This is another thing we discussed. And the third thing we did was some calculations that because we only had little time left. So what we ended up doing was this multiplication. Yes, multiplication we did. We had only 10 minutes that time, but now I think we are well above 1 hour in this, because here I am doing it coolly. What we will do, I will give you one thing here as a bonus that we missed in the class, the multiplication, but we will do it here now. See, if we do 99 multiply 98, this is a multiplication. Now if we do 998 multiply 992, can we do it in few seconds easily mentally? Or 9 multiply 8. They all follow the same method. You can use the same method all over. Why not this? Why not 652 multiply 256? Can we do this same method here? Okay, it will not be efficient. Just for the sake of argument we will do it. And the method I explained to you is very simple. If it is one digit, you put 1 0 1, so use 10 as a base. If it is 3 digit, use 1000 as a base. Base means this will be our reference, and here if it is 9, closest is 1000, so here it is 100 as a base. We call it base because this is where we return to. When we say base, we will simply not need to know the table of either 9 or 8. No need to know any table. Only we need, this is our base, this is where we want to go. It is like our tent in the jungle. How far we have strayed away, that's what we know. 10 to 9, how far it is? 1, and it is negative. Less. 10 to 8, how far it is? 2, and it is negative. So what we do? We simply multiply this and take care of this operation. Why I call operation? Because sometimes when it is 8, this would be minus 2 because it is less. What if this is 14? Suppose we multiply in a situation where this is there. 9 is less than 1 from 10, right? 14 is more than 10. So we would be writing 4 here, right? 4. So it is plus. This is why I say we have to write the sign. So we will multiply this, put it here, and we will do this operation. When I say operation, that means whatever the sign says. Here the sign says negative. So we would do negative. 9 minus 2 is 7, and 1, 2 is 2, 70.